So guys, you just trying to get a good wink at a Sunday night after a beer when your wife and kids have gone to sleep and you can't watch your favorite website because it's blocked? Well, let's go ahead and discuss why that is. Are you guys ever worried about getting doxxed? I know I am, and that's why I use a service like Incogni to make sure no one can find my IRL information if they find my name. A service like Incogni goes through all the available data brokers out there like white pages and these different websites. It will tell these websites to remove your information and it saves you tons of time. Use my link in the description down below to get 50% off Incogni as you see here on this website to get this deal. This is my top rated data broker removal tool. It's around half the price of competing services like Delete Me and it has a better interface to boot. So thanks for checking out this one and let's get back to the video. So guys, if you are unaware, several websites have implemented restrictive laws pretty much requiring certain websites to gain access to your identification and kind of store it on their website so you can just wank it out on these websites. Not only is this a huge privacy violation, because what if one of these websites gets hacked and your wife finds out that you were watching crazy tentacle stuff and she has your ID to prove it? You know, that's an ethical problem, not even to mention the privacy concerns, security concerns of your ID being on the internet and, you know, all that kind of stuff. The main kind of reason this stuff is being implemented is these states believe that they can successfully block kids from using the internet and being able to use Google to look at boobs. That's never going to happen. I saw my first pair of boobs when I was only 3 months old. And I'm assuming if you're here, you probably did too. This got a little weird. Anyways though guys, age verification with porn sites has been a thing for a long time. It's always just been a yes or no question. It's a very interesting dilemma to think about in the modern technological age, how to restrict access based on a specific person, when pretty much at the end of the day, anyone using a computer could pretty much look at anything. Let's say a kid goes on the computer, just starts using stuff that's not his computer, and so forth. Even in this restriction, let's say a dad is looking at some porn website, he uploads his ID and stuff like that, and the computer thinks it's him. Now here's the thing, as much as these age verification laws might sound like they're all business, they're also creating some wild, unexpected side effects that no one saw coming. You've got people searching for VPNs, like they're stocking up on toilet paper at the start of a pandemic. I mean, VPN searches spiked fourfold in Texas after Pornhub shut its digital doors there. So what does that mean? Texans are suddenly digital outlaws like, I don't need a cowboy hat or a lasso. I need NordVPN. It's wild, honestly. You can picture it now. Families around the dinner table talking about encrypted tunnels instead of work or school. And if that's not enough to make you chuckle, think about what's happening in places like Mississippi. Word on the street is that fake IDs aren't just for getting into clubs anymore. They're for getting into websites. Can you imagine the conversations between teenagers these days? Hey, I got this fake ID from the guy who also prints out your local library cards. It works for websites. Trust me. It's bizarre, but in a world where you need ID to watch your favorite online content, stranger things have happened. Meanwhile, Louisiana's over here flexing with their high-tech approach. They're using this thing called LE Wallet, and it lets you prove you're old enough without actually handing over your personal info. No need for those uh-oh moments where you're wondering if your ID's floating around some sketchy database. They've streamlined the whole thing like it's a checkout at the grocery store. Scan and go. It's like saying, here, check my ID, but keep your hands off the personal stuff. Makes you wonder if other states might follow their lead. Texas, though, let's talk about them again for a second. Picture a bunch of people out in the Wild West of the internet, armed not with pistols, but with VPNs. They're riding off into the digital sunset, dodging restrictions left and right. The whole idea that an age verification law could push people toward more extreme internet solutions is kind of funny when you think about it. Instead of blocking access, it's just turned every Texan into a VPN expert overnight. Who knew trying to watch let's call it educational content, would spark a revolution in cybersecurity awareness. And then there's the awkward side of things. Think about places like Virginia and Mississippi, where you're expected to show ID every time you log onto an adult website. Now imagine explaining this to your grandma who's just trying to find a cake recipe and ends up on the wrong site. She's asked for ID and suddenly she's calling you, confused about why the internet thinks she's into more than just a good lemon pound cake. That's a conversation you're not prepared to have. Grandma, maybe you clicked the wrong link, wasno. Of course, these laws aren't without their hiccups. There are bound to be mix-ups, like legit websites getting flagged because some algorithm went rogue. You're just out here trying to order pet supplies or research some home renovation tips, and boom, ID required. Sorry, these kitchen countertops are too spicy for minors. It's almost laughable when you think about it. It's clear that these age verification laws are trying to solve a big issue, but at the same time, they're creating a bunch of little strange and funny problems along the way. Who would have thought that in 2024, one of the hottest tech skills people would be learning is how to bypass website blocks? And while the intention is to keep kids safe, we might just be seeing a new generation of VPN ninjas emerge across the country, fighting for their right to access the internet with a little privacy. Then his kid comes on the computer and starts jerking it off to what his dad was looking at. This kind of thing doesn't really seem to work, really. It's not like these kids that are 10 to 13, 10 to 14, they're really trying to prevent a look at these websites, are lots of times they don't even have their own computer. They're going to be using the computers of their parents, maybe even phones and stuff like that. So that's something to think about. How effective can this be, really? At the end of the day, this is probably going to affect people just trying to wank it, who don't want to submit their ID, and they're just going to be turning to VPNs. Now, if you're not sure which VPN to use, well, check out vpntierlist.com. I've reviewed pretty much every single one with videos on my channel, and I've ranked them by tiers. I'll be putting my top 2 options in the description down below. If you're unsure what a VPN is or you don't know how to use it, basically what it is just a website that you subscribe to the service. You'll download an application, connect to a server where porn is not blocked, like some liberal state that's probably not a red state, and then you'll be able to watch that website. It's very, very easy to do. It's just as easy installing an application and connecting to a different place, pretty much. Additionally, one of the biggest problems with laws like these is not every website is going to obey. Pretty much only the websites that are going to be obeying these laws are websites that are legally kind of operating. Let's say, think of the websites hosted elsewhere that don't want to obey the laws. They're just not going to. And these websites probably have more dangerous content in the end. So at the end of the day, how effective is it really going to be? Additionally, it kind of brings up the question of inconsistency around the country. How are things going to be prosecuted? It's kind of the same thing like abortion. Let's say you get, I think at the end of the day, my opinion on this would be, how do I fix this issue? How do you fix this issue of kids looking at porn on the internet? Well, I think, as always, the best thing is education. I think there should be some class in high school or maybe even middle school saying like how to look at websites safely, how to make sure your computer doesn't get hacked, how to make sure you don't get a virus, how to not fall for scams, or these kind of things. And maybe even, educating kids about what pornography is, educating them, that it's not like real life, it's not like real sex, it's just industry. You could do that without having to show them explicit content, by the way. I think that is probably the best, most effective way to give kids the tools to understand what it is and if they should avoid it or not, and giving them the choice instead of just doing ineffective measures like these. That's my solution. Let me know what yours is in the comments down below. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and I'll see you again very soon.